Welcome back to We Should Talk, a pop culture interview series from In the Know. I'm your host, Gibson Johns, and today on the podcast we have Jason Tartick, who is the host of the podcast Trading Secrets. You probably recognize him from being on The Bachelorette. He is now engaged to Caitlin Bristow, a former Bachelorette, and he was working with Wyndham Rewards, so that was why we were doing the interview, so you'll hear some mentions of that in our chat, which is a little shorter than usual, but it's great nonetheless. The show he hosts, Trading Secrets, is all about personal finance and just kind of pulling back the curtain on how people spend their money, make their money. He has a lot of great interviews with other reality stars, entrepreneurs. He's had some of the Vanderpump Rules people on this season, and he'll straight up ask people like, how much do you make? Or how much do you make per episode? Or how much do you spend on XYZ? Or how much do you make on brand deals? And they're incredibly interesting chats, and they're really informative. He started his career before he was on the show, spending 10 years in the corporate finance world. And so he's incredibly informed, incredibly intelligent, and he shares information in such a digestible way, which is really important. It's some of these things that we don't learn in school growing up. So, we talked about his show, about his life before and after the show, this program that he's working with, and also I ended the interview with getting his takes on some pop culture topics like Taylor Swift re-recording her albums, Vanderpump Rules, Scandival, and all of them making money off of that, and what his thoughts are on that. Beyonce and JayZ's recent $200 million home purchase, and he had some really fun responses to those things. But yeah, it was a great chat with Jason, a little shorter than usual, but I still think you'll really enjoy it. Keep listening for my interview with Jason Tartick. Check out his podcast, Trading Secrets, wherever you get your podcasts, and please rate, review, and subscribe to We Should Talk on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, so we're here with Jason Tartick, who is host of the Trading Secrets podcast, former Bachelorette star, and also a best-selling author. Jason, where are you calling in from today?
I am calling in from the beautiful Grandover Resort and Spa. It's in Greensboro, North Carolina, which I've never been to. But I also found out, which might have me coming back here, is that this hotel is the host of the 84th year for the Wyndham Championship. So it's the final stop of the PGA Tour this year. So it's pretty cool stuff. It's beautiful out here.
And are you a big golf guy?
Huge golf guy. I've been a big golf guy since like my grandpa took me out when I was like 8, and I almost like took out a window in his car. But it was,
I'm assuming you've gotten a little better since then, right?
Gotten a little bit better playing the East Course at Grandover tomorrow. So super excited about that.
So we're talking today because you have a cool partnership with Wyndham Rewards. Can you tell me a little bit about that and what it entails for people?
For sure. So Wyndham Rewards, first and foremost, which was really cool when they approached me, is that I was already a Wyndham Rewards member and someone who is a big advocate of personal finance tips and tricks and making sure that I'm finding the right products and programs for the people that I do tutorials and educate. It was an honor for Wyndham to reach out. I've already been a rewards member, and it's the most generous rewards program, hotel loyalty program out there, which is super exciting. And then I think with any type of loyalty program, you also want to make sure that you look at just credibility, right? So this program is the #1 reader's choice for USA Today of hotel loyalty programs out there. And as much as I travel, it's great to be aligned with that. Now, while you're giving me this, though, I got to show you this. This is kind of cool, especially because we're doing a video recording.
Yeah.
Right now, a lot of my work-life balance kind of all over the place. It looks, Gibson, like I'm talking to you right now and I'm in an office. I'm not even close to an office. So part of the Wyndham Rewards program is that you can book these cubicle caddies. So what is that? It allows you to actually be on the golf course.
Oh my God.
Look like you're in the office. So I'm in a golf. I mean, for anyone that's listening, I'm in a golf cart. Golf course is right there. I got the green screen here. Look at the resort's right there.
There we go. Oh my God. So the cubicle caddy is what you called it?
It's the cubicle caddy.
There we go. Green screen included.
Yeah, if you're a rewards member, you get it for free when you book your tee time. So I'm telling you, Gibson, this has better high-speed Wi-Fi than I do back at home.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I mean, and this whole thing, I mean, it really does fit into what you've been doing in all the years since the show. I mean, it's the perfect thing for you. Is this the kind of partnership that you feel like just really kind of validates the direction that you've been going in? I know that you had your whole career before the show, but Trading Secrets is all about kind of sharing these tips and tricks, but also kind of having more transparency around money and personal finance. Does this kind of opportunity fit right into that for you?
I mean, it's such a good question because the biggest driver of like all the things I do are the things that I was taught either through education and family about finance that I was never taught actually in the school system, right? And so to have the opportunity to be able to talk to some of the most successful people in the world in all different industries and capacities, and then bring it to my listeners or my audience it's a dream. It's a dream. And then when you have a partnership like this, where you are already a member, and they are the most generous rewards program out there, you get 1,000 points for every qualified stay. To me, it's like if I can partner with them and then also share that message, it's amazing. We aren't taught in our school system how to align with loyalty programs. We aren't taught how to manage credit cards and manage our debt and negotiate for ourselves. And when you can align with companies that are advocates of that, it's honestly such a dream, truly.
Yeah. And I genuinely am a big fan of the podcast. And I feel like the thing that I really love about it is just, the transparency that you're advocating for just around, particularly like when you do an interview, like a fellow reality star or a Bravo person or something like that. And you ask them these really kind of direct questions about how much they make or how they spend their money or how do they negotiate. And like, those are just the kind of things that nobody else is talking about. And it's, you're just really kind of you're not just giving a peek behind the curtain, you're just like ripping that curtain wide open. And I'm curious if you could just like put into words for people watching or listening, what your kind of like philosophy is when it comes to your show and what you want to get out of your guests.
Yeah, I mean, like when I created this show and I'm trying to think about how to differentiate in such a saturated space of podcasting, I'm like, okay, why did Call Her Daddy blow up? They peeled and pushed that curtain back from sex. So I'm like, what is my sex? Because I'm certainly not talking about that. It's money. It's from a day one. I've always been curious. Like, what does that cost? What did they make? How did they do it? It's always been my natural curiosity. It lives in me. I can't help it. Sometimes Caitlin will be like, okay, stop, but I just can't help it. And so I think the biggest thing is that I want people to learn that there are a lot of big corporations out there, that financial institutions that benefit from us not talking about money, that benefit and make profit from us thinking it's a taboo. And I think we need to step into it. We need to talk money with our loved ones. We need to talk money with our partners. It's the second reason why people are getting divorced and causing hardships in relationships. And the more we talk about it, the more we learn, the more we know, the more we can better ourselves. And financial independence and freedom is a huge part
100%.
of overall happiness. So I could do this all day, Gibson. I'll take a breather there.
No, but I mean, I also think what's interesting is that with some of your guests, they are so game to just like share those direct numbers, like, be really, really open about, again, money and how much they're earning and how much they're spending. But some people, there's a little bit more resistance or they're a little bit more like skeeved out to answer those questions. And I'm curious if you find that to be more because of like contractual things or just not wanting to, I don't know, ruffle any feathers, or is it kind of just like an indicator of how we are as a culture around money sometimes?
Gibson, I think the reason a lot of my guests come on and they're so willing to answer these questions are because they aren't asked these questions.
Yeah.
And once they're asked them, they don't feel like they're positioning this as like a braggadocious or weaponizing discussion. They think it's educational. And I think I will tell you, it's got to be 95. I was going to say 99, but I want to exaggerate. 95% plus that don't share the information. Don't share it because of contracts. And the second we stop recording, tell me.
They'll tell you.
Tell me, and they want to talk about it. What do you think about it? What should I do? How should I do it? And that's why I think you just got to have these conversations, whether it's with reality stars, actors, musicians, comedians about money, or it's, sitting here talking about rewards programs that could benefit all of us. These are the conversations we have to have with one another because they help us all. Then when I tell Caitlin I'm here and I'm like, I'm working with Wyndham Rewards, she's like, well, I want a membership. I don't have one of those. So I'm like, you got to have these conversations.
But the fact that they want to have them off camera, even when they can't have them on the mic, it must also feel validating that like, okay, you're scratching an itch for people that is not being scratched by somebody else.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. It's not being scratched by other people. And the other thing I'll tell you too is I now run a talent management company called RTM Rewired Talent Management, and we help people that have a platform monetize it. And so not only the information they share, but wanting to like work together and collaborate and consult and like it's been so rewarding. And it's pretty special. It's pretty special.
Yeah, totally. When you think back to, the history of trading secrets and who you've had on, are there a couple of sort of eye-popping revelations or reveals that you've gotten out of people that stick out to you as like being particularly telling or shocking or just like indicative of, I don't know, of the industry?
I mean, it's really interesting what the audience connects so much to and why. People really, really connected to Dean Unglert's openness. Dean
Mm,
showcased every dollar he made on there, every dollar at Backer, exactly how much he's made in influencing. And people were just intrigued by that. People found relatability, intrigue, and also, I think, just a connection with like a Tyler Cameron when he's like, yeah, I went on the show 2 weeks later, I'm dating Gigi Hadid and I got $200 in my bank account. Like, just
mm.
like, I have no idea
Yeah,
why
I
or
listened to that one.
or like a Rob Deerdeck who literally he analyzes every single input in his life only to find happiness, and now only films 4% a year because if he's filming more than that, he realizes his connection with his wife, kids, and just overall life goes down. So I think that's cool. But then
Hmm.
also a cool one that will resonate a lot is like when you have specialists out there that come and talk about different financial tips and tricks
Yeah,
and programs and things like that. It's amazing, and you realize how much that people are benefiting from it. So
yeah.
whether it's me saying go get a Wyndham Rewards membership for free at wyndhamrewards.com, or it's having Tyler Cameron talk about Gigi Hadid and that he had $200 in his bank account to pay for the date and needed his dad to transfer him $100 that night. It's landing, people are getting educated, and it's entertaining, and so that's been
100%.
it's a dream.
So when you're so open and your guests are so open with money and their careers, and when you think about what you were doing before, you were in the corporate banking world, then you go on The Bachelorette, and then you have this whole other tangent. I mean, it's connected to what you're doing before. It's informed by what you're doing before, but you have this whole kind of, this blossoming career that's just like, you're very much a multi-hyphenate now, I would say. And like you have your hand in a lot of different buckets. So, you started multiple businesses, you do partnership opportunities like this one with Wyndham Rewards. You have your show, you're working on you're finishing up your second book. Are you comfortable saying like which has been more lucrative for you, like life before, after that inflection point in your life?
I think lucrative and just game changing. Like if you think about 6 years ago, I was going into an office in a suit, red tie, crisp white shirt, speaking the way I was supposed to speak, acting the way I was supposed to act, and kind
Yeah.
of like lost my identity. Now I'm sitting, as you know, in the cubicle caddy on a golf course, still being able to do really cool things like this. So when you look at the rewarding aspect, I mean, this is everything. When you look at the financial gains from it, I mean, yeah, I'm wide open about this stuff. I have an episode every year. It's called Jason Tells All. I tell exactly how much I make and where I make, as long as I don't have a contract that keeps me from
Yeah.
doing so. And I make much, much more now than I did then. And but I also work like 4 times harder, but it's because
Mm.
I enjoy what I'm doing. And sitting, and then being able to kind of be at the forefront of change in business, like being able to see what companies like Wyndham are doing with the cubicle caddy like this. It is so stimulating to like
Hmm.
see what's next and how the world is ever changing.
100%. So Jason, I wanted to finish off with just a couple of kind of big pop culture topics from the past year or two and I would like to have your financial or business, just like quick take on what's going on.
Let's do it.
So first, Taylor Swift re-recording her album. She's still, knee deep in that. What do you make of her decision to do that, and whether it's paying off for her or not?
Genius. I think what she's done is absolutely unbelievable. There will be Harvard business case studies over and over and over about what a professional she is. And just think about the behavior of it. Like she has the entire country and entire world swept at their feet. And the other
Yeah.
thing, Gibbs, I got to put out there, what's mind blowing, she's making millions and millions and millions of dollars per show. So I'm thinking like we're dealing with a little bit of economic suppression right now. Like where is the money? Like it's supposed to be like we're supposed to be in a recession
Right.
and people are spending $5,000 for a ticket. It's crazy.
Listen. Yeah,
She's a
totally.
case study and she's a genius and she's
Hmm.
inspiring. It's amazing.
Hmm. you've had a couple Vanderpump Rules people on Trading Secrets, and obviously Scandival has been very good for business, both for probably the network and for the individual stars of Vanderpump Rules. What is your take on how they're all kind of profiting from it, and how they can maybe sustain that going forward or not?
Yeah. When I had Sheena on, I love what she said. She said, our life is our business and our business is our life. And that's what they have signed up for 10 years for. And they've had ebbs and flows and lows and highs. And right now they are on the highest of all highs. I think it is awesome what they're able to do with it. I would encourage them to monetize as much as they can. But what I would also say is, like, you have, and what I said to Sheena too, is like, you have a really, really cool platform to educate people on something you just went through, a restraining order, the cost of hiring an attorney, knowing, like, what is the process of restraining order? When are people misusing them? And you could do cool things like that, or even just transitioning to my last episode with Haley Page, just talking about making sure you understand every contract, because if you don't, you literally might sign your life away. But I think Vanderpump has built momentum like no other. And if they can continue to rise from this platform, I think they'll be in really good shape. And it's been fun to watch.
Yeah,
it's been
I
fun
agree.
to entertain the conspiracies of,
100%.
did production know or not?
Right, totally.
Cool.
Last one, Beyonce and JayZ recently bought a $200 million house in Malibu. It's a second home in the LA area. What's your initial reaction to that, just from like a finance money perspective?
It's absolutely insanity that a residential piece of real estate is going for $200 million. What I like to do behind every number is learn the lessons. And I think there are probably lessons we could dive into it, is to, let's talk about what he sells it for. Anything they touch turns to gold. So if we can take small lessons of what they're doing with that property, how they're doing it, where they're flipping it, when they're flipping it, tax strategy, we can learn from things they're doing, because those are two geniuses that are running the show. So 200 million, good for them.
Good for them. Exactly.
My God. I could see JayZ crushing it in a cubicle caddy, can't you?
1,000%.
Like, I could see him cigar in hand, smoking.
Oh yeah,
having a little meeting. I could
running like a Rock Nation board meeting from the cubicle caddy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Well, Jason, this was so much fun. Thanks for taking the time today. Enjoy the rest of your time in the cubicle caddy. Are there any plugs you want to do before we sign off?
No, Gibson, I've listened to your work before your interviews. You're great at what you do, and you do it in such a short period of time. So congratulations on all that.
Thank you so
what
much.
I would tell people is, it's the most generous hotel loyalty program out there. Just go to wyndhamrewards.com. And if you want to listen to any of the episodes we talked about, just go find Trading Secrets on anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Jason. Have a good one.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to We Should Talk. I hope you enjoyed the interview. You can find out more about In the Know at intheknow.com. You can follow me, Gibson Johns, at Gibsonoma on Twitter and Instagram. And you can listen to all of our interviews, past and future, by searching We Should Talk wherever you get your podcasts. Hope to see you next time.